Greetings, beloved souls. Today's video serves as a gentle reminder of the exquisite tapestry woven by every relationship, molding us into our finest embodiments. Residing with her grandmother in a petite woodland town, young Matthew found solace amidst nature's grandeur. The dawn would witness her swift dashes to the river's embrace, a ritual that rendered her form svelte and her spirits high. This practice persisted through late autumn, until her grandmother's departure cast a shadow upon her heart, drenching her days in sorrow. In a neighboring twist of fate, Gavin appeared, exiled by his parents to the village as reprimand for his unruly conduct, a dance of truancy, defiance, and late-night revelry with companions. A family council convened, deciding that a summer nestled within his grandmother's countryside abode would quell his haughtiness and kindle reflection. Yet, the rustic setting failed to temper his demeanor. Serendipity led him to cross paths with Matthew, and a courtship commenced. Untouched by prior male attention, Matthew embraced Gavin's advances with unguarded innocence, surrendering to love's enchantment for the first time. Together, they wandered through moonlit eves, serenaded by nocturnal whispers and the river's tender murmur. As realization dawned that a new life blossomed within her, Matthew's heart dared to dream of Gavin's embrace in marriage. Alas, his reaction was far from expected. Upon learning of the impending parenthood, Gavin severed their ties callously, deriding both the rural maiden and their unborn child to shield his ego from scornful eyes. With a callous farewell, he vanished from her world, leaving Matthew trembling in a tempest of indignation and anguish. Tears traced rivulets down her cheeks as she stood, bereft. Her kin were but distant memories, a mother long past, a father who faded before her birth, and the cherished grandmother now gone. Gavin's departure was succeeded by his parents' opulent arrival, spiriting him away from the loathed hamlet in a luxurious jeep, as if erasing his presence. Whispers of her impending motherhood swirled through the air, painting Matthew's existence with shame. Tears shed, choices narrowed, and thus, with meager possessions and a heavy heart, she embarked on a journey to the city. Guided by her skill in tailoring, she secured a position in a sewing factory upon completing high school. A roof over her head came in the form of a humble hostel, where nominal rent secured a luminous, refurbished room. Adjacent lay a sanctuary of words, a splendid library and its tranquil reading room, where the glow of computer screens cast a portal to an unfurling digital world. Eagerly, she recognized the burgeon of the computer age, dedicating late hours to master computer graphics. From complimentary lessons to investments in learning, her resolve was unswerving, spurred by the promise of a lucrative realm and a compelling craft. Embracing frugality, she turned down invitations from colleagues, amassing a meager sum while securing a loan from her confidante, Bella. This financial patchwork facilitated enrollment in a 3D graphics course, a gateway to conjuring virtual wonders and gaming personas. Despite her inexperience in the realm of gaming and the tremor of self-doubt, a bus ad kindled a fire within her, a determination to conquer this newfound terrain. Several months elapsed, and Matthew acquired a training certificate and what she deemed sufficient knowledge to embark on the quest for a 3D artist position. Time was of the essence, as impending motherhood dictated the need for a remote job, given her inability to commute. Unfortunately, securing employment proved challenging due to the scarcity of part-time opportunities, a requirement dictated by her circumstances. Leaving her factory post wasn't an appealing option either. As a fledgling 3D artist, sans experience, commencing with a substantial wage was a distant prospect. Nonetheless, fortune favored her, leading her to an apt opening. Acquiring a computer through a loan, she plunged into a frenetic pace. She grappled with tasks into the wee hours, tears occasionally accompanying her struggles. Knowledge and expertise were lacking, necessitating her self-guided exploration. Driven by diligence and a sharp memory, triumph gradually replaced her tribulations. In due course, a robust baby boy entered the world, christened Tom by his resilient mother. Though robust and vocal, his moments of tranquility post-feeding bestowed respite upon the young mother. Mere months following Tom's birth, Matthew ventured into crafting interior elements, models for digital commerce, and characters for virtual realms. Her prowess extended beyond character design. A keen sense of style bolstered her repertoire. Her improved punctuality and rapid output positively impacted her earnings, enabling her to contemplate a flat. However, the hostel's familiarity and the assisting presence of neighbor Bella, herself a young mother, influenced her decision to remain, at least for the time being. Amid her ceaseless computer-bound endeavors, Bella played an instrumental role in Tom's care, her own child's age paralleling Tom's. Matthew's breaks revolved around her son's nourishment, with Bella compassionately shouldering the caregiving mantle throughout the rest of the day. While Bella resisted financial recompense, Matthew ensured gratitude manifested in monetary form. Bella's aid was pivotal, permitting Matthew to relentlessly work, often cradling her infant. An unforeseen juncture arrived when Matthew was summoned to the company's office, triggering a cascade of nervous anticipation. The revelation unveiled a branch in a distant city floundering in turmoil. Deadlines slipped, clients deserted, and an escalating staff turnover marred operation. Recognizing Matthew's exceptional talents spanned beyond mere 3D modeling, the management envisioned her as a beacon of transformation. Ascending to the role of head of the art department for the beleaguered branch, Matthew was swept into a maelstrom of anxiety. Fear of the unknown gnawed at her, amplifying her concerns over her ability to cope. However, reassurance echoed from her boss, who articulated her readiness and qualifications. Having matured swiftly as a professional, her meteoric rise and condensed experience were beacons of her aptitude, underpinning her inevitable triumph. Thus, the once turbulent waters of uncertainty gradually calmed beneath the vessel of Matthew's resolute determination. The quandary of lodging promptly found its resolution. An apartment awaited Matthew in the city, ready to shelter her and her son alongside a nanny. Initially hesitant, an unanticipated serenity enveloped her, prompting her to embrace the notion of trying this new chapter, fortified by the knowledge that a return was always feasible. The thought of embarking on this venture with Bella nestled alongside crossed her mind, given Bella's often solitary existence due to her husband's prolonged absences. The idea of cohabiting blossomed, considering the sisterly bond they shared. Bella's perspective shifted as she glimpsed Matthew's ascendancy and the wealth of opportunities unfurling before her, a trajectory that might have remained obscured had Gavin's path intertwined with Matthew's years prior. Rather than languishing in a domestic role, she now thrived as a professional, overseeing a branch's operations, drafting contracts, negotiating, and managing department heads, all while holding a university degree. Beneath her relatively unchanged exterior, a profound transformation had occurred within Matthew, a metamorphosis into a resolute, self-assured woman, both in her expectations of herself and others. Bella dwelled in close proximity to Matthew, her domain a spacious 5-bedroom house. With the birth of her long-awaited daughter, Bella's focus shifted entirely to her offspring. Her husband persisted in his shift work to provide for the family. Playfully, she prodded Matthew about prioritizing her personal life beyond work, urging her to embrace dates and the tokens of romance that accompany them. Matthew, however, jestingly proclaimed her son as her favored suitor, destined to bring her flowers in due time. 7 years wove their tale. Matthew's leadership propelled the branch to prosperity, her role awash with gratification and purpose. Contracts flourished under her guidance, negotiations bore fruit, and departmental oversight underscored her competence. An academic degree now adorned her accomplishments. Though her external visage remained familiar, her internal landscape had undergone a profound revolution, a formidable and self-reliant force, exacting standards from herself and those around her. Meanwhile, Bella's realm continued to flourish, marked by her familial devotion and her husband's ongoing provision through laborious shifts. She affectionately nudged Matthew to explore the realms of romance, reminding her that life extended beyond work's embrace. In playful jest, she teased Matthew about the prospect of dates and floral tributes, citing her son as the prime contender for such affection. On a certain day, Matthew journeyed to the head office for a crucial meeting. En route from the airport in a contemplative haze, the taxi driver's persistent gaze finally registered. Astonishment coursed through her as her name left the lips of the very person whose scrutiny she felt. Gavin, the very same individual who had heartlessly severed their connection 9 years prior, occupied the driver's seat. He appraised the transformation that had swept over Matthew, marveling at the blossoming of a once unassuming country girl into a striking lady. Unfazed, Matthew responded with an indulgent smile, deflecting his advances. A café rendezvous was proposed, potentially rekindling their past or fashioning a fresh start. His words seemed to carry the echo of their past affection. Yet, with grace, Matthew declined, articulating her contentment with her current trajectory. It was clear that her sentiment for Gavin had shifted to a place of compassion rather than affection. Sharing her perspective with a surprised Gavin, she settled the fare, bade her farewell with a nod, and exited the taxi, leaving behind a once intertwined history. Opting to withhold information about their shared child, Matthew chose not to divulge anything to Gavin, considering his prevailing lack of inquiry about the child's well-being. Gavin observed Matthew, weaving thoughts that her occasional glances might denote a chance for relationship revival. He maintained a conviction that a rustic soul like Matthew's couldn't have transformed so drastically as to sever him from her life entirely. She seemed to be prospering financially, an indicator that reconciling their relationship might be viable. However, as Matthew neared the office building's entrance, she strode forward without casting a last look. Gavin lingered momentarily, his optimism clinging to the hope that Matthew would emerge soon, summoning another taxi ride together. His gaze fixed sadly upon the window of the building now enveloping her. His existence had veered off course from his desires. Once ensconced in affluence, the dismissal of his father had triggered a fall from grace, leaving his family bereft of their possessions. In stark contrast, Matthew, despite her modest beginnings, had blossomed into a life of prosperity. This transformation was underscored by her ability to employ him, regard him with a sense of superiority, and saunter away without a glance in return. Gavin's discontented contemplations were punctuated by the dispatcher's voice issuing a fresh assignment. A bitter sigh punctuated his acceptance as he complied, following the call of the next passenger. If you liked this story, click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another story. Thank you for being part of our storytelling family. We'll see you in the next adventure.